Hey guys, I was cruising around Gearslutz and some other places this weekend. Um, Most of you guys have a pretty good grasp on delays and different little techniques with delays, and we've covered quite a few, but I thought we've got some new viewers, a lot of new viewers, and they're not quite as advanced as some of you guys. So I thought I would kind of do a quick review of delays and try and toss in some new things so that you advanced guys can still enjoy this into the lair. So I'm using for an example a song called Monsters. It's by the group Loquat. Kylie is the singer. I think the Rondo Brothers produced it. Oh yeah, Jesse Nichols engineered it. I love this song. Great song. You can find it on iTunes, so pick it up. The whole album's really good. So this is a dry vocal in the track. I just want you to hear this, and this is what we'll use as kind of a reference to see what we're doing. Okay, so now we could put reverb on the vocal, and this is what it would sound like if we put some reverb on the vocal.
We breathe as
Okay, in the track.
we breathe as a list that doesn't
Okay, now let's nuke the reverb, and let's try delay.
there's a list that doesn't get shorter.
Okay, the beats per minute is 81, so we go to our delay chart. Just type in delay charts in Google. You'll find the delay charts, or you can use a program called Music Math, something like that. Anyway, just Google it. You'll find it. And so we know that our quarter note or eighth note delay for 81 beats per minute, which the song is 370. So let's try that.
There's a list. There's a list.
I'm gonna show you some things real quick. We're in pre. I'm gonna mute the original signal.
There's a list.
Because that's only the delay.
There's a list.
So let's take a little bit of the top end off, kind of make it emulate an older delay.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things.
And then another thing that a lot of the older delays have is a little bit of distortion on them.
There's a list.
Okay, so now we've colored up our delay a little bit. Let's set our delay back 4 samples, which is about a millisecond. Now let's add that back into our vocal and see what we got.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter.
Okay, let's compare that in the track.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things are fit.
I think that's a lot better, just adding that kind of color to it. How'd I come up with those particular choices? A lot of the older gear adds a little bit of harmonic distortion, so we added some tube distortion. Tape, a lot of times, took a big roll off on the top, a little bit on the bottom, so we kind of simulated that. We're not trying to actually duplicate anything in the analog world. We're just kind of using that as a guideline to maybe create something new and different. Now let's move on to something else. you've heard the term slap. Well, slap was basically, in the old days, you'd take a send from whatever signal you were trying to enhance, and you would send that to your 2-track stereo tape machine, and then you'd put the tape machine in record. You'd take a mic stand and put it on each end of the tape machine, about 5 feet from the machine. Then you'd get a piece of tape and you'd create a loop around the mic stands, and then you'd tape use splicing tape. You'd take the tape together, so now you had an endless loop of tape going around the mic stand, through the tape machine, mic stand, through the tape machine. And it took advantage of the fact that the record head and the playback head were this far apart. So you monitored not the input to the machine or the record head, you monitored the playback head, and that distance produced anywhere, depending on the machine and depending on the speed, anywhere from 50 to maybe 100, 110, 120 milliseconds. That's not important, but what is important is that's what we came to know as slap, like classic Elvis Presley records, and then that sound became very desirable, and now we still use slap a lot. So what I'm doing is I'm emulating that. I experiment a little bit, and I liked 122 milliseconds on this song. Some of the faster songs sound better with. You just got to experiment. It's not a formula, and just move. You know what? Let me show you.
There's
It's 122. I'm gonna change it.
there's a list. There's a list.
So I exaggerated, but let's go back to somewhere right around here.
There's a
Let's put that in the mix.
there's a list.
And this is without it.
There's a list.
Okay. Now we can add our EQs, our tubes, all that to this particular sound too, and it'll actually enhance it. Okay. Let's go to pre, so all we hear is our effect.
A list that doesn't get shorter as things are fixed. There's a list that doesn't.
Okay. Now I'm gonna make this all delay.
There's a list.
Now let's color it up. Let's lo-fi it up. Let's use a lower bit rate.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things are fixed. There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things are fixed.
A little too much distortion. Let's back off on that. If you're working in another platform, all I'm doing is just taking the bit rate, lowering it, looks to like 11, 12 bits, and I'm taking the sample rate and lowering it to around 9,000 hertz sample rate. So now let's add a limiter in there just to enjoy that, and let's see what that sounds like.
A list that doesn't get shorter. There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things are fixed. There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things.
Okay, so you can see the color is kind of important because our ears, as humans, we get accustomed to certain sounds, and that becomes the benchmark by which everything else is compared to. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's just actually something that we can use as engineers to shorten the process to finding new sounds. And I like it better when I get that color in there. It just, especially with the limiter, I'm not taking off that much. How much am I taking off? So not a lot. You can use any limiter. The tools I'm using are not important. What's important is just the concepts, if you think that they can enhance what you're doing. Okay, one last thing I want to show you is not earth-shattering here again. None of this is earth-shattering, but I just, as always, I hope that this leads you guys to experimenting, trying new things, and then telling me how to do it. Now I'm going to show you how to get what we call kind of a ping pong effect on the delay from side to side. Pretty basic stuff, but there again, some of you guys are just starting out, and I want to make sure we take care of your needs too. Let's see what we got.
Doesn't get shorter as things are fixed.
Okay, I just evened out the left and right for some reason. It's a little weird on this particular preset. So now we've got quarter notes, but to get the ping pong, let's make one note twice the value of the other. So check this out. We're just listening to the return now. Okay, so now let's put that in our mix. Well, let's see what it sounds like soloed.
There's a list.
Okay, you see why I have to add a little bit of extra gain to the right side. The shorter side usually needs more gain.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter.
You can use two separate mono delays and have different amounts of feedback. I'd have a little less feedback on the long side and a little more feedback on the short side. Now, let's color that one up a little bit. Throw it in the track.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things are fixed. There's a list.
That's not bad. I kind of like that. And then if you want to get fancy schmancy, you can put a little reverb, send everything through a little reverb. I actually prefer the sound of less hi-fi reverb, so I like using deverb. Let's solo the.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter.
We're losing a little volume, so let me crank that up so you can hear it with a verb.
There's a list.
This is without it.
There's a list.
Okay, we're losing little gains.
There's a list.
Let's put that in the track.
There's a list that doesn't get shorter as things are fixed.
So I think that gives you some things to play with and think about. Don't be afraid to stack effects. Don't be afraid to stack different things. Another trick you can try is taking a delay and use a real tight short delay and then feed that delay into another delay, or you can take and do like I did. You can delay the entire delay system by 4 samples and create different little plays on the. What you're trying to do is get some of the color and harmonic content. Well, that's not accurate. You're just trying to take some of the idiosyncrasies of the piece of gear and have those combine and add and subtract from other pieces of gear. In the analog world, I'd say you're mixing up some harmonic coloration, but in the digital world, Lord knows what you're mixing up. But it just use your ear. If it sounds good, it sounds good. So I hope that gets you started and gets you some ideas to thinking of some new ways to approach adding width and depth to your sound. Now, one of the things I forgot to say when we first started is a lot of times when you put reverb on a vocal, it tends to move it back in the mix. So delays are a solution for that problem. You can get and use delays, various combinations of these techniques to get the same effect as a reverb without it taking the vocal and moving it back. You can still keep the vocal right in front of your face. So these techniques are great for rap, they're great for rock vocals, and even pop vocals. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. Experiment with these techniques and let me know. All right.